through and you actually see how your website is being seen by the accessibility software, what's the next step? I want to give you guys some basic guidelines, some takeaways. A lot of people will already know some of these things. For all you that are not technical, that you're like me, you care about the business side, you care about the money part of this, some of this might be something you could take away and hand to your web developer and say, make sure you're doing some of these things. So the first thing that we always look at is using descriptive alt text. And this is basically a description of an image. That's where we get into this button thing that was happening on Disney. And by the way, I don't want to bash Disney because they have fixed this problem. But using descriptive alt text is a basic tenet of making your site accessible. Descriptive images. In addition to that, set up a tab index. A lot of people that are visually impaired do not use a mouse. They use their keyboard to navigate your website. Okay, so setting up a tab index is something that you can do that will help people like Amber and other people with vision impairments navigate your site. Be very mindful of the navigation on your site. Most people that are into SEOs, therefore most people that are here, are paying very close attention to this now, but we still see a lot of it not being done well. And what I mean by that is we still see a lot of JavaScript drop-down, fly-out menus, etc. that if they were built differently, you can still have the same functionality of the drop-down or the fly-out, but you would actually have it be able to be navigable by the screen reading software and the search engine spiders better. This will allow your links to show up in the code instead of embedded in scripts. In addition, tables. Most web developers these days are moving towards pure CSS or tableless design techniques. We definitely recommend that. That's not to say you can't use tables, but use it for tabular data only. And that means if you have tabular data, go ahead and use your tables, but don't use tables for layouts if you can avoid it. In addition to that, you want to use text-based equivalent for Flash content. For years and years, I've been in this industry 6 years, and one of the first things I learned was Flash is bad for search. And to an extent, it still kind of is, because there's ways you can do it that instead of using Flash, you would be able to kind of leverage your site, leverage the code a little bit better. With that said, there's a lot that's being done with Flash now. There's a lot that you can do that the search engines will accept. It's not going above and beyond their terms of service or best practices. So there are things you can do with regards to Flash by using a text equivalent. And the final thing I wanted to recommend, and this is something that is very simple, television's been doing it for 50 years. If you have video, and the internet is not just about text content anymore, it's not just articles and text. Most of our clients' websites have some form of video on them. If you have anything that is being watched, then you have something that that is of interest to people, and because of that, when people cannot hear and all they can do is watch, they're not going to watch it. So do something very simple. Add captions on your videos, just like a television show would for closed captioning. So here's the basic equation. Design for the customer, be smart